The Indiana Fever just lost back-to-back games against the Dallas Wings, 19-0 run, against the Washington Mystics, 18-7 to start the fourth quarter. Lost the lead, lost the game. We just lost back-to-back games against teams we had no business losing to, even without Caitlin Clark.
It looked like the Indiana Fever has lost another game due to Kelsey Mitchell. Guys, for this one here.
Well. Looks like Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell just turned another winnable game into a comedy reel, and the internet isn't letting this one slide. The best part? Sophie Cunningham, the one player who could have saved the day, was left wide open. Before we dive deeper, tell me, would you have trusted Kelsey in crunch time?
Coaching versus the Mystics, her game plan was piss poor. It looked like a third grader probably writ her game plan out.
It's honestly hard to believe we're still talking about this, but the Indiana Fever never failed to deliver fresh material. This latest disaster was a perfect storm of bad decisions, Stephanie White's play calling and Kelsey Mitchell's inability to close games. And Sophie Cunningham, she was standing there wide open, practically begging for the ball, yet ignored like a forgotten group text. This isn't just a missed opportunity. This is a full-blown breakdown of leadership.
Sophie, till late in the third quarter, you guys were struggling offensively in that frame. Second half in general didn't feel the same as the first half on that end. Did something change for you guys? What did you see as kind of leading to stalling on that end?
Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively, it just somehow affects our offense. And so I think the thing that we just have to continue to do that kind of got us on the run we had before the last couple games was we were aggressive at the opposing attack on defense, and that led to easy transition buckets. That led to everyone being aggressive and on their front foot on the offensive end. And, we have new players, and that's okay. But, we just have to adjust, and we need them. We've faced a lot of adversity. But we should be used to that by now.
Stephanie White trusted Mitchell to take the big shot, even though Mitchell has a track record of crumbling under pressure. Kelsey can score in bursts, but when the game is on the line, history has shown us what happens. She misses shots, forces drives, and fumbles chances like clockwork.
Second quarter comes around. Slippage starts to start. We get up to a 13-point lead. Eventually it falls down. We end up 5 at the half, and that's not a bad half. Come out of the half in the dreaded third quarter, and we are flat. And I feel like in quarters like this, it just feels like we're slashing our own tires. Like we are stifling our own momentum at every turn we can. Like the team came out and they literally looked like they were uncoordinated all of a sudden. Like they were just missing easy shots. They were like overshooting, like they were trying to draw fouls or something. I don't know what's going on with this team.
Let's break this down. A game like this is more than just a missed shot. It's an indication of the team's overall lack of understanding when it comes to executing in clutch moments. If you're the coach, you're supposed to see that. You're supposed to be aware of who's been consistent, who's been reliable, and who's earned the right to take the final shot. But White failed to recognize this fundamental part of coaching, and it cost the Fever big time.
Friend Carolyn Peck been, and where has the Indiana Fever are a more dangerous team without Caitlin Clark conversation gone? How come once the Indiana Fever suddenly stop that 5-game win streak, lose 3 of their last 4, how come Carolyn Peck has suddenly stopped showing up on TV? How come that narrative of the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark? Why has that suddenly stopped?
For a team with championship potential, these kinds of mistakes are like ticking time bombs. One moment, they're right there, ready to steal a win, and the next, the game slips away because of an avoidable error. Now, let's talk about the coaching decision here. Stephanie White put her trust in Mitchell, ignoring the fact that Sophie Cunningham was not just open, but was the one player on the floor who has proven she can deliver in clutch moments.
Sophie, till late in the third quarter, you guys were struggling offensively in that frame. Second half in general didn't feel the same as the first half on that end. Did something change for you guys? What did you see as kind of leading to stalling on that end?
Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively, it just somehow affects our offense.
It's baffling. White's decision was a blatant act of coaching malpractice. Choosing Mitchell, a player with a history of missing in crunch time, instead of Cunningham, was a disastrous call. The numbers don't lie, and the collective groan from Fever fans said it all. This wasn't just a poor decision, it was a decision made in the face of clear evidence that Mitchell wasn't the right choice. Fans and analysts alike have been calling for a change for some time now. Mitchell isn't the player she was in her earlier seasons. She's shown time and again that when the pressure's on, she cracks.
Above her head is Cunningham with a steal. Cunningham feeds Sims, who goes coast to coast and lays it in. So they had to make sure they had the right shot clock time as well while they were reviewing that. So Indiana with a 10-point lead here. 6 minutes until halftime as Boston finds some space and knocks it down. Now Sims launches ahead for Mitchell. What a pass by Odyssey Sims.
The job of a coach is to recognize when a player has proven their worth in certain situations and when they haven't. Yet, White repeatedly places Mitchell in those situations, asking her to do the one thing she's not capable of, closing out games.
For the Buckeyes. Here is the Buckeye product on a backdoor pass, but Mitchell lost the handle. Sutton thought about the three, steps in, Hull got a piece. Dolson has been wide open all possession, splashes home a three, and we are level at...
If White's looking to build a championship contender, these kinds of coaching decisions aren't going to cut it. It's not just about the X's and O's. It's about understanding which player is mentally prepared to step up when the game is on the line. And White's failure to identify that cost the Fever not only the game, but potentially the trust of her players.
Indiana with their work cut out for them here. 6-point deficit, just over 5 minutes left to play. Mitchell, feed inside. There's an easy two for Boston. Cunningham leans in, thought she drew the foul. Boston pulls down the rebound and lays it in.
And let's not forget about Caitlin Clark. Here's a player who's already carrying this team on her shoulders. She's busting her tail to keep the Fever relevant, and what does she get for it? A coach who hands the ball to a player who has failed in crunch time. You could see the frustration on Clark's face after the final play. It wasn't just disappointment, it was pure exasperation.
It's up to the chat. Getting started. It's in the chat. Why at the same time? Because I'm you and you're me. We switch parties. Zub's in the chat.
When you're the foundation of the team and you're forced to watch your coach make this kind of decision, how do you stay motivated? For Clark, it's got to feel like she's putting in all this effort, pouring her heart into every game, and yet the people around her just keep failing her in critical moments.
Gets it into Boston. Hand off Mitchell. Indiana has to hurry. Lob back for Boston. Boston finishes. It's a 2-point game. 5.9 seconds from... Pulleys her way inside.
What a pass by Melbourne, too. Really nice.
Mitchell turns on the Jets and gets to the rim.
No one can keep Kemper is one of the best rebounders out of her area, which means the ball not directly above her head is Cunningham with a steal.
Cunningham feeds Sims, who goes coast to coast and lays it in. So 4 quick ones for Indiana.
She's a player who's capable of putting the team on her back, yet she was sidelined by a poor coaching decision. The trust that should exist between a coach and their players is now severely fractured, and Clark's frustration is the product of that breakdown. You could see it in the way she carried herself after that final play. The cameras didn't lie. Her body language screamed frustration and disbelief. The fans could feel it too. When you're the one player everyone's looking to for a spark, and your coach decides to ignore you, that's when your faith in the system starts to unravel. Clark's reaction to this loss wasn't just about one game. It was about a larger issue that's been building up for some time.
Cunningham looking, finds Mitchell, launches a corner three. It won't go. Rebound Aiksler. And this young Washington Mystics group who continues to impress throughout this season. And Sidney Johnson in his first year comes up with a big win on the road.
This wasn't just a missed shot. This was a full game collapse. Indiana had momentum, the crowd was behind them, and the Mystics weren't unbeatable. But the Fever blew it with lazy turnovers, sloppy defense, and an offense that was as predictable as the sunrise. White's coaching was a textbook example of poor preparation combined with poor execution. The result? Another close game lost in catastrophic fashion.
I think the thing that we just have to continue to do that kind of got us on the run we had before the last couple games was we were aggressive at the opponent attack on defense, and that led to easy transition buckets. That led to everyone being aggressive and on their front foot on the offensive end. And, we have new players, and that's okay, but we just have to adjust, and we need them. But we've faced a lot of adversity, but we should be used to that by now. And I think they could just kind of outwork us a little bit, and that just can't be our excuse.
But let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. This game isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a recurring trend with this team. We've seen it time and time again, a talented squad, a chance to win, and yet somehow they come up short. That speaks to more than just the players. It speaks to the leadership. A team reflects its coach, and in this case, it reflects a team that's unprepared for the big moments, unable to adjust when it matters most. You've got players like Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Sophie Cunningham, who have the ability to shine in those critical moments, but the system around them isn't equipped to help them thrive. It's like watching a talented band try to play a symphony, but the conductor keeps missing the beat.
Yeah, I think we over-dribbled at times. Our off-ball movement wasn't there. We did a lot of standing. It's almost like we gave the ball to Kelsey and just tried to watch her work. And that's not when we're at our best. I mean, yes, certainly we want to have the ball in our hands, but we've got to continue to get movement with and without the basketball. It was getting stuck. I mean, we want to play 0.5 to 1 second basketball, and we weren't. And it's got to get moving.
And you better believe fans weren't silent about it. The moment that final possession ended, social media exploded. Clips of Sophie Cunningham wide open started making the rounds faster than a viral meme. Fans roasted both Mitchell and White for making what could very well be the dumbest decision of the season. And honestly, they earned every bit of that roasting. Fans saw the truth. This wasn't about the refs, fatigue, or bad luck. This was about a coach and a player ignoring the obvious, and the consequences were immediate. But this social media backlash isn't just about roasting the team for a bad play. It's a direct reflection of how fed up the fan base is with the ongoing cycle of failure. Fans invest their time, their energy, and their hearts into this team, and when they see a coaching staff that repeatedly makes the wrong decisions, it's natural for them to lash out. And the thing about social media is it amplifies everything. Fans from all corners of the basketball world weighed in on this debacle. The memes flooded Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Commenters dissected every second of the game, pointing out where the team went wrong. The frustration was palpable. It wasn't just a loss. It was the final straw for many fans who had already been disappointed by this team too many times.
With Chloe Bibby tonight, were there thoughts of maybe plugging her in to try and spark the offense a little bit, or what was the decision behind not playing her?
Yeah, there were some thoughts. I think that it matched up defensively more than anything with the way that we were going to try to play them, or in some of our switches and things like that. So that was mostly the reason.
And then just with the rotation, was it just those eight or seven that you ran with? Was it just they were flowing well and you wanted to just leave that going, or what was the thought there?
Yeah, I think some of it was defense. Being able to execute the type of defensive coverages that we wanted to have against this, the way that they play.
So what exactly is Stephanie White's vision for this team? Because from the outside looking in, it seems like she's more focused on forcing certain narratives than actually winning games. If she truly wanted to win, she would have drawn up a play for Sophie Cunningham or Caitlin Clark, not Kelsey Mitchell. At this point, Mitchell has shown us who she is. She's not a closer, not a reliable option under pressure. Yet somehow, she keeps getting the ball when it matters most. The truth is, White's decisions are starting to make less and less sense. As a coach, you have to be able to adapt. You have to look at the talent on your team and put them in positions to succeed, and that's not happening. Instead, White seems to be stuck in a narrative where Mitchell is the go-to player, even though she's repeatedly shown that she's not the one you can rely on when the game is on the line. That kind of stubbornness can't exist in a championship-caliber team. White needs to make a change, not just for this season, but for the long-term health of the franchise. Because if she continues to prioritize narratives over results, the Fever's playoff hopes will slip away. And when that happens, it's not just White who will be to blame. It'll be the entire franchise for not holding her accountable.
And I think it was something like a 22-7 run, the end of the second, beginning of the third quarter. And those are hard to recover from when anytime really, but when you're missing pieces. And we've got to make sure that we're sharper at times. We don't have the margin to have lulls within quarters. And then I believe they had something like 21 points from free throw line and turnovers of their 26 in the fourth. And we control that defending without fouling. We control that taking care of the basketball, decision making at times, and some of it's playing some people out of position, and some of it's just not being valuing the basketball in the way that we need to value it, being a little sloppy with it.
This game wasn't just a loss. It was another example of the Fever's recurring problem, the inability to close out tight games. It's like a broken record at this point, and the team keeps playing the same tune, hoping for a different result. The regret is instant, and it's not just the players who feel it. Fans are frustrated, and for good reason. Sophie Cunningham deserved that shot. Caitlin Clark deserves better leadership. The Fever deserve a coach who knows how to close games. This isn't just a one-off failure. This is part of a bigger problem that's been haunting the Fever for years. And if nothing changes soon, this team is destined for another season of missed opportunities. The kind of regret that lingers long after the game is over. The worst part is, none of this needed to happen. The Fever had the talent, the momentum, and the chance to win. But a series of bad decisions, both on and off the court, led them down this path. And now it's too late to go back and fix it. All they can do now is live with the regret and hope that it doesn't define their season.
On their ball screen coverages right now.
Here's Mitchell on the handoff, bounce pass. Boston one bounce and a left-handed finish. Here's Boston, the offensive rebound, flips inside to Howard, who lays it in.
You go step up screen, flare on the weak side. They had to make sure they had the right shot clock time as well while they were reviewing that.
So Indiana with a 10-point lead here, 6 minutes until halftime as Boston finds some space and knocks it down.
Kelsey Mitchell's performance has been a topic of conversation for years. While she's shown glimpses of brilliance, it's hard to ignore the overwhelming inconsistency. She's a scoring guard with a lethal shot in transition, but when it's time for the clutch moments, she simply doesn't have the pedigree to take over. It's not about her potential, it's about her inability to deliver when the stakes are highest. This is where the coaching staff needs to step in. Trusting Mitchell with the ball in these moments is a huge gamble, and honestly, it's a gamble that White has continued to take. And each time, Mitchell has failed to deliver. She doesn't read the situation, she doesn't create for others, and most importantly, she doesn't execute when the game is on the line. We're talking about a player who can put up 20 points in a game but can't hit a game-winning shot to save her life. There's no denying her talent, but there's also no denying her lack of mental fortitude when it matters most.
Never really control the outside things. You can't control injuries. And so that's why you really do have to control your mental and control what you can control. And I think that we have a really good group. We're still a tight-knit group. We're adding new players in that are amazing. O's been around the league for a long time. And I know you don't think so, but it's a blessing that you weren't on another team because we need you here. And so I just think it's an adjustment period. The highs and lows, you just have to stay kind of steady, right? Every team faces it. I feel like we faced it more than most this year. But I think this is going to set us up for something good. I don't know if it's this season. I don't know if it's next season. But I think there's always something that you can be grateful for and learn during those hard times.
It's not a fluke that Sophie Cunningham has earned a reputation for being clutch. When the game is on the line, she's the one who steps up. And it's not just about hitting a big shot, it's about having the composure and the awareness to make the right decision under pressure. On the court, Cunningham has proven time and again that she's the one you want to pass the ball to in crunch time. She's not the flashiest player, and she's not out there trying to steal the spotlight, but when the team needs a bucket, she's the one who shows up. This wasn't just an isolated incident. Cunningham has earned that trust over the course of multiple games, but in this particular game, when she was wide open and ready to take that game-winning shot, she was ignored. Instead, the coach opted for Mitchell, a player who has failed to come through in similar situations time and time again.
So, what was the message inside the locker room? Like, what were you guys talking about there after the game?
Yeah, I just think that we've had some hard injuries this year. We've had some different lineups and roster spots. And, to be frank, I don't think anyone else around the league thinks that we can do it anymore. But I think that our group does. And I think that we just have to get that confidence back. When we're clicking offensively, defensively, we're scary. And not a lot of teams can beat us, even with the roster that we have right now. And so for us, it's just remembering who we are. It's our identity. We got to get back to being dogs, got to get back to being aggressive, being on our front foot, and not allowing teams like this to come in here and outwork us.
Let's take a deeper dive into the mental toll this type of loss takes on a team. The Indiana Fever are caught in a loop of losing close games. And it's not just the players, it's the fans too. The constant failure to close out games has created a mental block. Every time a close game comes around, the tension builds because everyone knows what the inevitable outcome will be. And it's not a fun one. This is why the franchise is at risk of losing its most valuable players. Players like Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Sophie Cunningham have given their all, but how much longer can they stomach watching these avoidable mistakes happen? It's not just about one game, It's about a pattern that has plagued this team for years, and that's not something that's easily fixed. The mental toll starts to accumulate, and it's not just on the court, it's in the locker room too. Players lose confidence in each other, in the system, and most importantly, in their coach. This is how locker room divides begin, and it's something the Fever are dangerously close to experiencing if something doesn't change.
The past couple games where it feels like kind of that wear and tear's taking a toll?
Not really. And I think that she kind of hit it. You have to give yourself a little bit of grace. When you have so many different lineups, O and I have never played together. O hasn't played with a lot of people, maybe Tosh. But like you have to know her style. She has to know our style. And so it's different, but that's part of being a pro. You got to adjust and you got to learn fast. And I think that's a really cool thing too, because when you click, you click. And so that's scary for people coming in here and trying to play us.
Fans are the lifeblood of any sports franchise, and they're not afraid to speak out when things go wrong. The backlash on social media after this game was loud and clear. Fans are tired of seeing the same mistakes over and over. They're frustrated, and rightfully so. This team is talented. They've got the pieces to be a contender. But coaching blunders and questionable decisions are holding them back. Fans aren't just cheering for wins, they're cheering for accountability. They want to see the coach make the right calls, the players stepping up when needed, and most importantly, they want to see a team that learns from its mistakes. When they don't see that, it's no wonder they lash out. It's their investment, their passion, and their support that's being taken for granted. Stephanie White, Kelsey Mitchell, and the entire Fever organization need to recognize that this isn't just a game to the fans. This is their emotional investment. When the team fails to meet expectations, the fans make sure the world knows it.
Sophie, till late in the third quarter, you guys were struggling offensively in that frame. Second half in general didn't feel the same as the first half on that end. Did something change for you guys? What did you see as kind of leading to stalling on that end?
Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively, it just somehow affects our offense. And
So what do you think? Should Sophie Cunningham have taken that final shot? Or do you still trust Stephanie White's vision? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next Meltdown Breakdown.